Well, welcome back to the greenhouse, and we're doing a Sunday seeding. I thought they were going to be Saturday, seedy Saturdays, but I guess they're going to be seedy Sundays. It just works out better with my schedule because I do plant sales in the driveway on Saturdays, and I do them on Sunday too, but it's kind of more relaxed. So Sunday, I think, is probably going to be the seedy Sunday. So a few things that are going on that I noticed. The dahlias that we sowed on Mother's Day last week are popping up. I got one there I noticed that came up on yesterday, and this morning I saw another one here. So a week in germination. Pretty happy with that. My tubers that I'm doing are slow. I don't typically grow dahlias from tubers, so comment below and if that's normal, because I think that they're only, hold on, I'll go get them and I'll show you how far that they've come. And I've had those going for I think almost a month now. All right, here they are. I mean, that's the only growth I've gotten so far. And like I said, I think I've had them going about a month, and I just set them on top of some compost, you know, like this. I don't really see much root growth on them, but I don't, and maybe it's for, you know, each variety is it a little different maybe too. I don't know. This one I think is more rotting than anything. There is some swelling of the eyes. I don't know. I'll have to address that. But comment and let me know if that much growth in a month is actually normal on the tubers. But I haven't really been super happy with them. The seeds doing great. All right, and then some other things I noticed in the greenhouse. The amaryllis. I have videos. I know I've changed this to a homesteading, but I still do like, you know, pretty flowers too. So, has a little baby. This one flowered and has gone by, I think that one flowered back in March, I think. And then this one has flowered and the blooms are starting to be spent. We got another little bud here. And I just came out and fertilized them. I'll show you my fertilizing system. I have a short on how I do that. It's super simple. Let's go out here and see. All right, this is one of my fertilizer buckets. I keep this one out beside the greenhouse. Right now I have some geranium that I'm gonna pot up in a pot. This isn't really necessary, but that's where I put it because we were getting some rain, and I just cover the water. This is a 5-gallon bucket, no holes obviously, so that we can collect rainwater. And then when I'm pruning and cutting my plants back, I just stick it in the water and let it ferment, you know, like people do with comfrey. I don't grow comfrey, so I'm using that same concept, but just with my weeds and my garden material. Because, you know, what do plants, you know, uptake? They take up the nutrients, and the nutrients are going to be in the plant. So when we ferment it, it's going to ferment the plant material, and all of that nutrients will be in that fermented water. So I just use that for fertilizer. So that fertilizing system is super easy. It's free from just the materials that I have. I do use some synthetic and organic fertilizers too, but I'm really starting to get away from those things. And not saying that I'm not gonna have to have something, you know, in the future that maybe a plant is like super sick and it really needs some help. But for the most part, that's what I use for my fertilizer is plants and weeds from the garden. And I grew from seed last year. I got them from Hudson Valley Seed Company in New York. They had hardy hibiscus, and so I got some seed, and they didn't get super big. This is the old plant stock, and I just left it because I wasn't sure how they were going to come back, because I'd never grown them before. So I know that typically they say, oh, you can cut the old stems back, but they weren't bothering me. So I see some growth there. See that? And this is the only one. I'm not sure. We had a super harsh winter. It was really cold. I think that those other ones died, but I'm happy to just have the one coming back. So I'm going to give this a dose of fertilizer and cut the stem back. Let's do that now. I'll go get some fertilizer. That way you can see it. Whoa. See if I can get good. See, it just looks like a T. And then see if I can get you down here where you can see a little bit better. It stinks. It stinks. I'm gonna put that on top of it's running out, so I'm just gonna put it on top of another pot of flowers. I do that a lot too. So, because that I don't want to waste it. So I'll just layer it on top of other things that I have, or even next to something in the garden that maybe I think, oh, that might need some fertilizer. I just gotta wipe up some water. I don't know what we're gonna sow today. I think that we may sow, I guess I'm not sure. We'll have to think about it. Oh, but actually some people had some questions about their rhubarb. So let's go out and look at the rhubarb and I'll answer some of those questions. Okay, this is my rhubarb, and some questions came in about that theirs was already flowering, and that was I think that question was on last week's video, and mine hadn't flowered yet, but as you can see, I do have one now. And of course, some varieties flower sooner than others. So if you had one that was flowering last week or even before that, it's probably just due to the variety. I don't know what variety this is. This came off of an old farm. So just cut that off, and you certainly can still eat the rhubarb. I have left the flower heads on in the past, but they do make a super mess. So just go ahead, snip that off, and the rhubarb's still good to eat. All right, I was getting warm in my sweatshirt out here, but while I was in doing a wardrobe change, I figured out what we're going to sow this week. I am going to sow, well, we're actually gonna start germinating them technically. And obviously I don't live in the South, so my purpose for growing these is more for fertilizer. I'm going to use them like a green manure. I'm going to grow these as my cover crop in between other plants in the garden. and then just till that in. Obviously I'll probably harvest the peanuts and use those for my seed next year, and chicken feed too. I didn't have chickens at the time when I was thinking about doing this back in March, and I did do a test to see if this method's going to work. Unfortunately, I couldn't get them to grow out very well down there in the basement underneath the grow light. I just have a cheap light. It's really cool down there, and these are warm, hot weather crop, so I'm sure that that had something to do with it. And I had infestation of gnats and mites, spider mites, and you name it, I have it down there. So I wet a paper towel, and I found a Ziploc baggie here in the greenhouse, and I'm gonna put that in the bag. I've already stuck it in the bag once, so it's kind of sticking together now. And I stuck it in there to make sure that I folded it to the right size. All right, that's fine. It doesn't have to go all the way to the bottom. And then you just stick your seeds in there in a single layer. So this is not, I don't think it's necessary, but the reason why I soak them, I don't know if you can see the reason why I soak them is because I'll show you when we start shelling them and putting them in, some of them sink. See, one has sunk and the other one is floating. So if they're have sunk, they're more than likely viable, and if they float, they are not. Now, that said, I still, even though a bunch of them I only soaked or germinated the ones that had sunk, I still had a poor germination rate. So I don't know that you know, everyone that sinks is going to actually germinate, but we can at least eliminate more, you know, that would probably aren't going to be viable than just putting them in the ground. So this isn't necessary, but I like to do it so that we can have a little bit better germination rate. So I'm just going to do a bunch of these, and I hope that one broke. These will go to the chickens, and actually the ones that float to the top we can bring over to the chickens too, and you can see how big they've gotten. Oh, that one broke too. Those all sank. So you get the point. I'm gonna fill a bunch, shell a bunch, I mean, and fill the cup, and I'll show you the next step. Okay, I shelled a bunch of them. I've taken out all the ones that were floating. These ones are probably more than likely going to be viable, and I'm just going to stick them in here in between the paper towels in a thin single layer. Well, not thin, but in a single layer. I'm just gonna throw them in here for right now. And I just keep checking on them every few days. This winter down in the basement, of course it was cooler, it's warmer out here in the greenhouse. They took about a week to germinate. And then I'm gonna seal up the bag. There, that's it. Let's go feed the bad seed to the chickens. They've never had peanuts before, so, and they're, let's see, 9 weeks now. There they go. They like my nails. All right, guys. I'll see you next week in the greenhouse, and let's grow together.